Welcome students to the virtual class of class 12. Today I will start the sonnet by John Keats, The Poetry of Earth. Look at the title first. The Poetry of Earth. Here, poetry means music or different sounds of the creatures of the earth. The writer John Keats was a romantic poet. Actually, he is the second generation romantic poet, or rather, one of the masterpieces of the second generation romantic poets. The romantic poets had their own philosophy, and all the poets are a genius. In Keats, sensuousness is his own creation. What is sensuousness? Sensuousness is the presence of senses that human beings have. In his poems, the presence of all the five senses are very prominent. He used his words, organized the words in such way that the reader will feel with his or her senses and understand his poems and what he wanted to say. In his poem, The Poetry of Earth, here poetry means music or sound of nature. According to the poet, the birds and insects are the greatest musicians of the earth, and their music transfers from one to another. And it is a continuous process. There is no interruption in their music, and when they feel tired, exhausted, and bored, they transfer their duty to the other's hand. In this poem, Keats echoed this continuity with his masterly dealing of the nature and her aspects, whether it is scorching hot of the summer or the shivering hot cold of winter. The sounds of the nature never stops. If the hot sun in the summer makes birds to take rest, the birds employ the grasshoppers to continue the function, while in the winter grasshoppers go to take rest for further music. They hand over the duty to the crickets to carry on the same. In this way, the natural creatures continue the function of the earth without any break or uninterrupted. This is a sonnet, and it is a Petrarchan sonnets, or in other name of this sonnet is Italian sonnet. The rhyme scheme of the octave and rhyme scheme of the sestet are given here. In octave, Keats follows the rhyme scheme A B B A B B A, and in the sestet he followed C D E C D E. Look at the picture. This is the picture of a grasshopper. This is grasshopper and this is cricket. In Bengali, we call cricket jhijipoka and grasshopper ঘাসফড়িং or pongopal. No, not pongopal. It is gangapuri, not pongopal. It is gangapuri. In our common day-to-day life, we often see this. In English, it is grasshopper. Let's read the poem. The poetry of earth is never dead. When all the birds are faint with the hot sun and hide in cooling trees, a voice will run from haze to haze about the new mown wind. That is the grasshopper. It takes the lead. In summer luxury he has never done with his delights, but when tired out with fun, he rests at ease beneath some pleasant weed. The poetry of earth is ceasing never. On a lone winter evening, when the frost has wrought a silence from the stove, there thrills the cricket's song in warmth increasing ever, and seems to one in drowsiness half lost, the grasshoppers among some grassy hill. In his sonnet, the poet clearly shows his intention from the first line and in the ninth line. Look the first line. The poetry of earth is never dead. And then switch over to the ninth line. The poetry of earth is ceasing never. Both the lines echo the same idea, same theme. That is, the poetry of earth, or the music of the earth, or the sounds of the earth can never end. It is immortal. And in the rest 12 lines, he shows how the music or poetry of earth become immortal. It's an eternal phenomenon. Let us see how he shows the immortality of the sounds or music or poetry of art. In summer, the birds become exhausted for excessive scorching hot of summer. They are exhausted, so they need some rest, and they want rest in the cooling shade of trees. When they went to rest, we often hear a voice. This voice runs from hedge to hedge. Whether it is morning or evening or noon, we hear this voice. This is the voice of grasshopper. In summer, he leads the music of earth. In one moment, grasshopper becomes exhausted and tired, excessively tired. Then he leaves all the summer's beauty. Actually, in Europe, summer is very beautiful because most of the time in the large part of Europe is winter, especially in England. It is too close to the North Pole and to the north of the British Kingdom, it is North Sea, and beyond the North Sea, the Greenland and North Pole. So, geographically, the position of England is in such a place that most of the year there remains winter and summer appears in a very short time. People of the country feel pleasant and the atmosphere of the country is very pleasant during the summer. Nature appears with all its luxury in summer. In such summer days, after being continuous music, grasshopper becomes exhausted and goes to take rest in the weeds. The grasshopper may take rest, but the music of earth does not end. At this point, after summer and in winter, whether it is a chilled frost or cold wind, a shrill sound comes out. This is from cricket. Whenever or wherever cricket finds some comfortable place, It breaks the silence of the nature with its shrill sound. People may misunderstand, especially those people who are in drowsiness, in half awakened condition, may confuse whether this is the sound of a grasshopper or not. In this way, throughout the year, sometimes birds, sometimes grasshopper, and sometimes cricket continues the music of earth, the poetry of earth. The birds, the grasshopper, the crickets are representative of all other creatures of the nature. Now, you are asked to go through the text again and again and try to understand the meaning of the poem. Then work out the questions. Here are the questions, work out them. First question, there is a quotation or extract from the text, the poetry of art is never dead. How does the poet show the immortality of the poetry of the art? Question number 2, what makes the birds faint? What do the birds do then? Question number 3, whose voice runs from haze to haze and when? Where does it take rest? In this way, there are 13 questions and then there are 10 MCQs. Work out all these questions in your exercise book.